everyone, and welcome to Red Head.
Hi, baby.
Anyways,
Hi.
so I was like, that's your problem, not our. And grabs me by my dress. Our lives, but keeping a distance from people. Being here, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Peace. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Red Head Unfiltered. So today, I thought we could speak a bit about the struggles of in-laws. So the only reason I thought about this topic today and the reason my husband is not with me is because I am the host and he was just a guest before anyone asks. And I was at a little get together last night and I noticed I was not the only one with these problems. So today I thought we would just discuss my relationship with my in-laws. So, number one, I just want to start off this video with I love them very much to a point, and the relationship I have with them is very touch and go, but I am open and honest on this channel. So, background. My husband and I started dating when we were 19 and 20. So young. And we dated for about a year and 11-ish months when we got engaged. Then we got married after 3 years and 6 months. We got married. Just for context. Hi, baby. Anyways.
Hi.
So, okay. Would you guys like to be a part of this discussion? Stop bullying your sister. Anyways, so when Andreas and I first started dating, life was good, life was great. Up until 6 months of our relationship. So the first 6 months I was getting along with his parents, with his sister so well. And then everything changed due to the fact that I am very unhinged, very unfiltered, and very unapologetic. So Andreas and his sister got into a fight at our 6 months mark, and he then decided mentally it would be better for him to move in with me away from his parents. Now this is where the shit hit the fan. It was because he decided to move out, and before my cats are attacking each other. Stop it. Behave. So before he decided, set in stone, he was going to move out, we both decided he was going to stay by me for a week. I need to clip this on my shirt. Oh shit, I'm clicking buttons. Because I need my hands for this. So we decided he was going to live with me for a week and then go to his parents for a week as a transition period. This did not go well when he discussed this with his dad. He discussed it with his dad, and then his dad asked for very private information. He wanted certain things that I do feel like other parents wouldn't necessarily ask for. Him and his dad ended up getting into a fight because his dad asked us for, like I said, very personal things that no one should ask anyone. And instead of doing the transition period, there's a bug. Instead of doing the transition period we originally organized, he packed up his stuff that night, moved in with me that night. Further down the line, now Andreas lives with me. We decided we are going to move away from the house we were currently living in, and we were going to move to our family farm, which we now live on by ourselves. Just FYI. And this is where things just started going very haywire. We went and told his parents, we are moving to the farm, We are very excited for this. This is a chapter in our lives. And his dad and mother did not like that. I wouldn't say his mother per se. She was very wary because of safety, basic things. But his dad did not like that at all. We ended up moving to the farm in November, which was lovely. We both love it here. We have 5 fur babies, which is Luna, Star, Mutton, Murphy, and Iris. Then we have 9 ostriches, which is amazing. We have 6 ducks, 2 geese, and about 12 chickens. So we're living the life here. Now, because I am very unapologetic and very unfiltered and very straightforward, when we moved here, we invited his parents over. And his dad did raise concerns that he did not like us living here because I am the way I am. I was like, that's your problem, not our problem. Move on with your life type of thing. And from there, his dad and I did not get along. We still didn't really get along. Fast forward us living here in about February 2024. They moved from their house to a different house. And Andreas had to work that day. And with Andreas having to work, I offered to help move them because they were moving like in one day. They were moving everything in one day. So we did that. So I drove Andreas's car with all the boxes and stuff in, and we moved forward. Later that night, we decided, you know what, it's really late. So we are going to stay there. We're going to eat there, and then we're going to drive home. And his dad made a very shitty comment saying that I did not help all day. I didn't bring ek het nie my kant gebring nie, and stuff like that, which obviously, as my now husband but then boyfriend, he got very worked up, and him and his dad started fighting in front of me and his mother. Andreas then did say to his dad, he has always had a problem with me and it needs to stop. And with Andreas standing up for me, it made situations much worse. So I'm not going to go into detail about everything I've been through with his dad, because then this is going to be a 7-hour video. But fast forward to, let's talk about our engagement. So this is a holiday. So I got a really big bonus at work. So this was a holiday Andreas and I booked together so that, because we were very far in our relationship and we knew we wanted to get married, we wanted our families to get along. So him and I booked this holiday at Mabalingwe, and we invited his dad, his mom, his sister, my dad, my stepmom, and my 2 sisters to this holiday. And this holiday was great, except for the fact for 2 whole days, Andreas couldn't be there. He had to work. So these 2 days that Andreas wasn't at the holiday was okay, because my in-laws behaved themselves to a point, because my parents were there, or my dad was there, and my sisters. So they were behaving. Now, this was the holiday that I didn't know I was getting engaged at. So we, just keep in mind, I paid for where we were staying. I paid for all the game drives. The only thing they were responsible for is food and drinks. That is what I asked them to bring. And obviously their petrol, driving there and back. And for 2 days, it was good. I was very nervous because this would be the first time I'm left alone with Andreas's parents for 2 days. Even though my dad and my stepmom and my sisters were there, I was still really nervous. And for 2 days, it went really well. And for some reason, when my husband showed up, things went a bit pear-shaped. My father-in-law started making funny comments. My mother-in-law and my stepmom were fighting, or they were smoky with each other. My sisters were fighting. So I don't know what happened, but things just went a bit pear-shaped. Fast forward to the last day. I booked us a game drive just so that we could all breathe before we had to leave the next morning. Let alone that this little thing sitting right here know I was going to get engaged. on this game drive. And on this game drive, it was lovely until a point. So we went on this game drive, but obviously we had a few pre-drinks before we went on the game drive. And some people can handle pre-drinks a bit better than others. So when we went on this game drive, my father-in-law was already a bit intoxicated. Now, I'm a solid believer of drunk words or sober thoughts. The whole game drive, he was just pushing my buttons. Not only my buttons, my husband's buttons, my sister's buttons. He was just like being all over the place. He was being rude. And that was just one of the things. Fast forward to after an hour of game driving with this man and everyone. We get to the part where I get engaged. So we pull up to this little damn thing. This is our last destination. I didn't know my husband planned all of this. And we climbed out to take photos because the sun was setting and all of that. Or that's what I thought. So anyways, long story short, Andreas ends up getting on one knee, and my sisters all knew this was happening and they were taking a video. And when Andreas got on one knee, his dad's verbatim words was, "Nee, fuck Andreas." Thank God my husband ignored it because I love him so much. But that was his comment when we got engaged, like as Andreas was going down on one knee. I cry, he cries, my dad cries, my stepmom cries, everyone fucking cries except him, obviously. We then get back to the chalet thing we were staying at. And his specific words were, "Let's take a photo together so that everyone thinks I approve this." I don't need your fucking approval. I'm marrying who I want to marry, and Andreas will marry who he wants to marry. I thought once we got engaged, things would go better. It didn't. My father-in-law spent the better part of a year and a half of planning a wedding. He spent that year and a half trying to convince myself and my husband we must not get married, which is the worst feeling in the world. You know, I really don't care what people think about me. I looked for validation in my father-in-law for very long. Very long. But at a certain point, you're like, fuck this. So he spent a year and a half really grinding our discs. He was moaning to people we're not involving him in the wedding planning, but when we tried to involve him, he wasn't interested. So it was constantly a back and forth. And he would never treat me shitty in front of Andreas, my husband, but always behind closed doors. So a lot of people were saying to me through this year and a half of wedding planning is, "Are you sure you want to marry Andreas because you marry into the family?" And I was like, yes. I'm marrying my husband because I love him. I'm not marrying him because of his father or his mother. Now it's the year we're getting married, 2025. And we decided, both of us, we are going to have a joint kitchen tea and bachelor's type of thing with myself and my husband. So my husband wanted to have a braai for him, and I had a kitchen tea. We decided we're going to do this together. We are getting married. We don't want to do things apart. All of that. And you would think that in front of 30 guests, this man would behave himself, and he didn't. We had a joint table for our presents that we got, and he decided that's not fair. The day's not about me, it's about his son. So he's going to split the tables. Obviously, me being unhinged and unfiltered and very fucking straightforward, I said to him, "I arranged this, not you. So stay in your fucking lane." And that was about it. That from after the kitchen tea straight through until the bachelorette, he was bad mouthing me left, right, and center. I am a spoiled brat. I am a this. I am a that. I'm keeping his son from him. I'm not letting him see his family. I'm causing fights, throughout this whole. So our kitchen tea was in March. No, it was the 7th of May, excuse me, was in May. And our bachelors and bachelorette, which was also joint, was in July, the 26th, I think. Yes. And then we got married the 2nd of August. Fast forward through all the bad mouthing and bad talking to my bachelors and bachelorette with my husband. We decided to do a joint because we have a big property and we are not those type of people that want to go bar hopping, and he didn't want to go to a strip club and all of those things. So we decided just to have a joint party. At the end of the day, we are celebrating the fact that we are getting married. So this is just our mindset about it. The girls and I, the bridesmaids came early and we started getting ready and they set up and everything looked so beautiful. I'll insert photos. Everything looked so beautiful. And basic tradition in South Africa when a man gets married is that they do something called blikskit. Now that is where your husband goes stands next to a robot or a stop street, stuff like that. Huh? Listen to him correcting me. A traffic light, not a robot. And this was supposed to be for about an hour. Now, I spoke to his best man, and his best man was like, we'll be an hour and a half max. I was like, shop. This gives me an hour and a half to spend time with my girls, and that gives him an hour and a half to spend time with his guys. And a lot of drama happened that evening. Let me know if you want to have a story time. But the night ended with everyone leaving before 8 o'clock. My husband falling asleep in a shower because he was too intoxicated. And myself, my stepdad, and my maid of honor were braaiing. We were making food. To later find out that my father-in-law instigated the fact that my husband didn't come home when he needed to. And that really hurt because keep in mind, with all the drama that happened there, because it wasn't just my father-in-law, but with all the drama that happened there, I was worried about my husband because he left the farm at about 2, 3 and only came back at 8, so intoxicated he couldn't walk. So I then find out after me fighting that my father-in-law put my husband in a corner and told him that he doesn't think it's a good idea that we get married. This was 2 weeks before my wedding, by the way. Instead of just swallowing that I was doing for the year and a half of wedding planning, I decided to confront him. And with the confrontation, I was really not nice. He then asked me that night, I need to meet him for coffee. I met him for coffee where we both apologized to each other, and I thought things would go amazingly from there because we really, it felt like we had a heartfelt conversation. I even climbed into the car with my husband later that night and I was like, I think your dad genuinely means he's sorry. Fast forward to my wedding 2 weeks later. I walked down the aisle. So keep in mind, I've been getting ready since 5 o'clock in the morning for the wedding. I walk down the aisle and he starts heckling. I then proceed to give him a look. My husband gives him a look. He heckles again. Now we've got 2 photographers. Our DJ is taking a video. So we've all got this on tape. I then... How do I put this? We then get through the ceremony finally. And it's time for a part of our ceremony that we really wanted, where the person that marries us prays over me and my husband and our future together, but our parents and our grandparents were holding our shoulders while he was praying. And this man proceeded to go stand in front of the camera while we were being prayed for. So you can't see me and Andreas being prayed for, which was a very big part of our wedding that we wanted. He went and stood in front of the camera. He then proceeded to hug me after being prayed for, and he finally said the words, "I accept you," which I thought was great. At that point of struggling with him, I was like, fuck this, I really don't care. We then signed the contract and we signed our marriage license with our thumbprints. And he carried on saying the words, "I accept you, I accept you, I accept you, I accept this." And I was like, okay, dude, you do you. We then do all the photos, all happy chappy, family photos I ran through. I think we took family photos within like 10 minutes after the ceremony, and it lasted about 7 minutes. Fast forward past the speeches, past everything. Finally, after a whole ass day of getting ready, I go sit outside and I just take a breath. Where I thought it would be okay, my father-in-law comes in or comes outside and grabs me by my dress and says to me, "Come dance with me." And I said, "I do not want to." And he's like, "Come dance with me." I said, "I do not want to." And he then proceeds to be pushy and says, "Come dance with me." And I said, "I don't want to." Where he then walks back in, he whips his gat eventually. He walks back into the reception area and proceeds to tell my family that I am a bitch that is entitled. Keep that in mind. Now, that is how my father-in-law and I get along. My mother-in-law, I love her to bits, like I really do. But we also touch and go sometimes. We sometimes get into each other's faces. But fast forward 7 months later, after being married, we never see them. I think for the first time in 3 months, we saw them on New Year's. And then we saw them now recently again. I think last week we had dinner with them. And that was about it. So if you feel that you are the problem with a toxic in-law, you are probably not. And you are not alone in this, because I have a really good friend that's going through exactly the same, except hers is with a mother-in-law and mine's with a father-in-law. If you have done everything to make sure you and your husband get along with your in-laws, like my husband and my family get along really, really, really well. And it's, I don't know, maybe it's because I'm so unhinged and unfiltered that he doesn't like me. And I don't care. We've now been married 7 months. We're family planning and we are having the time of our lives, but keeping a distance from people that are toxic. So I just thought I would share this video because you're not alone in it. You are not struggling alone. If you are being a dick towards your in-laws, keep in mind, don't be a dick towards your in-laws. And if your in-laws are being a dick towards you, be a dick back. Thank you for being here. Thank you for watching. And I'll see you next time. Peace.